If you want a video from up there, it will be better.
Your neighbors, or
Oh, where?
like behind this window? No?
This is a mirror. It's just a really dirty mirror.
In Barcelona now I feel myself like quite home. When you travel, every day is like a new day, like completely different from it was yesterday. And when you have plan for going far distance and you travel as far as you can, you always get really like cocktail of cultures. You go like you begin in Lithuania and end up in Germany, and when you hitchhike you always meet different people. You try to find language with them. In some way you begin to understand each other. You can make talks in your languages and somehow get connected. Knowledge you don't get if you stay at your home country. You can see different lifestyles also, like completely different reality. For example, going first time to Berlin and see all this squatting movement, these like really big houses squatted, and you come from Estonia where squatting is completely impossible. We have only one. Maybe I was excited with going somewhere to squat when I went to Berlin. So I lost my line.
No.
and actually forgot the question. In your hobo code.
Хоба Саша любит каша. I learned Russian, maybe I started learning 1 year ago from a book that I bought. I knew I wanted to go to Europe at some point. I had to go to Europe. I don't even know why, it was a compulsion, and I especially wanted to visit Eastern Europe, you know, the former Soviet bloc, and I knew from what I'd learned that the evil Soviet Empire had made everyone in their sphere of influence learn Russian. So I figured Russian, being the most widely spoken, was a good language to pick, and it happened to work out really well because I met Dima and his friends in Berlin, and I was looking for a place to sleep, and they had one, and they spoke Russian, and my Russian was shit, and their English was shit, but between it we managed to communicate, and you know, it turned out really well. And this is the front house, dacha. It basically says, fuck the police, no police brutality. It's kind of a joke because no one here understands this Polish and Russian, so. In Canada, the laws are very difficult, and from what I know, squatting in Canada is now mostly done as a political action, because when you squat a building in Canada, you know it will be evicted at the most within a week, but usually within 2 or 3 days, and so people squat places in Vancouver or Ottawa or Montreal for, you know, we need more social housing and we're going to make it ourselves if you won't make it for us, for example. And the longest one I remember in Ottawa, it was called the 7-year squat, but it was only 7 days, and it was called the 7-year squat because the waiting list at that time for social housing was 7 years. When you put your name on the list, you had to wait 7 years to find a place in some social housing. When you squat a building in Barcelona, you have to, if you've been in the building for more than 3 days, then it's a legal squat, well, as legal as squats are. And because of this, then it takes a long court proceeding and a lot of paperwork, and they have to contact the owner, whoever it is, and so on and so on. And so you can usually get the house, even if they want to evict you, for about a month or two. But the police, when they come, they don't really care about the law, and if you open the door, then they will come and evict you illegally. And all that you can do then is, I mean, you can go to court and you can say they evicted us illegally, this was a squat, and then maybe you can get some formal apology or something in a few months after a long and expensive court case. But when it comes down to it, you're still homeless and you have to find another place. Before you squat a place, you need a proper lock or a proper barricade. Especially if your door is as shitty as ours, you need a good barricade behind it. For me, squatting in itself is a revolutionary action. Just living in a house where you don't pay rent, fixing it up and you know, renovating it and, you know, filling it with furniture that you have not paid for. But you didn't steal either. I mean, you just found it on the street. This is the things that no one else wants. And doing all of these things, even eating for free from the dumpster, like you've almost completely removed yourself from this whole chain of consumption and production. We've almost everything in this house we haven't paid for because no one else wants it, even though it's perfectly good stuff. And we have removed ourselves from this chain. Just by living like this, if everyone lived like this, there would be no capitalism, straight off, because there would be nothing to sell or buy because everyone has everything they need. The majority, for example, then capitalism as it is today could not continue to function as it is today. It would not be possible.
Yeah, okay.
There would not be enough consumption to fill production. And so no one can really say what happens after capitalism, and I just believe that what happens afterward will be much better for, you know, no matter what happens, it will be better than what we have now. Now, when people are reduced to numbers, to I have a code, you know, this is my social identity number, this number is who I am to the government of Canada. My social identity number is who I am to my employer. My social identity number is who I am to the hospital, to everyone, and I'm just a number. I am a ledger with the amount I spend and the amount I make. That's all I am, numbers. You know, real life is available to you if you can look for it, and it might not be the easiest life. It might not be this cookie-cutter existence that, you know, I want to be this life, and you just pick it out of an IKEA catalog, but real life with real people is out there and it exists, and it might not be entirely legal, it might not be entirely within this capitalist system, but you can take it and you should, because what you are cannot possibly exist in an IKEA catalog.
Also really important for me is try to live in one community, like this like autonomous place here where all the people do something to improve life of whole community, to help each other, to rely on each other, and to try to live in like this way where no authority goes upon someone from anyone, and learn to avoid conflicts, and when people, completely different people, live together, and to learn to live in community with others, people from different countries, cultures, and thoughts, and to find common language so everyone feel comfortable.
When we finally found this place, people from another squat who we just went to visit the day before, they lent us tools, they lent us you know, anything we needed, they gave us food, and when we came into the building, they brought us food from their squat because we couldn't leave this place for a while. When the police came and they were really aggressive this one time, they had no excuse to be here, of course. Two people from this other squad came over to talk to the police for us because we didn't speak Spanish, and these people did, so they got us out of a really tight situation. We have received so much help from so many different squads, and it's really fantastic. I can't begin to explain the amount of help that everyone is willing to give in this community. You can film from the other way around. It says, "You are my sunshine." From the garbage also.
At that moment, he wanted to stay there for. Oh shit.
1 minute.
So the light.